What's up, everybody? Benja Well Done coming at you live on this beautiful corona-free day. Today is Saturday, May the 30th, at 9:10 in the morning. How are you doing? So, I'm back to doing everything as normal in the great state. You know, what's so awesome about the great state of Texas is now that everything is moving forward, all these ideas, all these strategies for jiu-jitsu and application of comedy and new material and stuff in different studies, and not to get into too much detail, for all of these things between jiu-jitsu and comedy, now I can finally apply it. And because I live in the great state of Texas, where everything is already open, okay, I'm able to finally take these last 2.5 months of study and application of principles that I wanted to do, not just in comedy, but I'm doing as well also in jiu-jitsu, and finally apply it in actual physical reality, which is great. You know, during that 2.5 month period, I really found my voice as far as comedy goes. And in comedy, there's something called your voice, which pretty much means it's like who you are, like your opinions, like when people think of you, what they will think of you when they think of you. You know what I'm saying? So when they think of a certain comedian, for example, like Jerry Seinfeld, they think he's very kind of like a certain type of humor. It's like you kind of know what to expect. And I really found that. And it took a while to find. Before this whole corona thing, as far as comedy goes, I have always been, and I still do this to a degree, but here's what I'm getting at. Very kind of like high energy, and it was effective, and it worked, and that's me. However, in a similar way to chess. In chess, I would much rather win, and if I was going to impress anybody, it would be based off of how few movements I make in order to get checkmate and beat my opponent, not how many. I noticed when I was doing one-liners how I had very little movements, but contextually what I was saying was so powerful, it always had an immediate emotional reaction of people laughing very, very hard. So without getting into too great detail, and this is applicable in towards what jiu-jitsu and stuff, but in a different way, in a similar way to jiu-jitsu as in comedy, my voice, my movements in jiu-jitsu, okay, or voices in comedy, is with not necessarily impressing somebody or making them laugh with how much I say or how much I move, but how little I say and how powerful and strong the words are and the premises of what I'm saying and how my viewpoint is completely known. That to me leaves a far beyond lasting impression. And if someone is going to be impressed, that's to me that would be even more impressive, to how little I can say to get that equally strong reaction. Similar as to in jiu-jitsu, how little movements it takes me to finish my opponent compared to how many steps it takes for me to get there. Finding the shortest, most direct line. And there's a lot of different routes to get there. So, to keep things very simple, that's the biggest thing that I have gained from this whole period. And I'm thankful for it. This whole period has been able me to detach myself and view my actions in jiu-jitsu and my not just performance in comedy, but the content, what I say, how I say it, the delivery, all sorts of stuff. And as a result of that, now I'm having more laughs, fewer movements, and when I do move, it's actually emphasized because of how little movement I was doing before. Whereas before I was doing a lot of movements everywhere. Now I'm only doing it to emphasize a certain story. If I was like acting out, or if I was basically doing like two sides of a story back and forth, you know what I'm saying? it would be really interesting to hear how someone else has benefited from this. But honestly, I haven't really noticed or even been around to talk to anybody to have that kind of conversation, because I still haven't done an open mic, and the only thing I'm doing as far as hanging out with anybody kind of is jiu-jitsu. As far as I'm aware, mostly everyone has sort of just, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, I'm just saying honest. I don't want to say this in like a pompous way by saying I'm different, but I always say that, and I believe it's true, and to me it is. What I mean by that is that if there's not an opportunity, I'll create an opportunity. During this whole Corona period, there wasn't an opportunity to go to the gym, so I bought kettlebells, and I'm sure a lot of people bought free weights, but I actually kind of not revolutionized, but I literally changed my whole physical workout from doing certain weightlifting exercises just to be strong to now I'm doing specific body movement exercises to improve the performance of my jiu-jitsu. One helping the other, supporting each other. You know, I'm not really doing like bent over rows and deadlifts anymore and barbell squats and stuff. I mean, all that stuff's fun, but that's not necessarily really gonna improve my performance. So now I'm primarily doing gymnastic exercises with the dip rings, pull-ups, push-ups, and kettlebells. And kettlebells is weighted, but between the kettlebell swings and windmills, and there's a whole sorts of variant type of exercises. Now I'm just using a lot more core strength, and my body and my movements are actually stronger than ever before. And I can guarantee you, just from the volume of push-ups that I do, there's a weird thing that happens if you go crazy on the volume as far as calisthenics goes. It actually carries over into your 1 rep max as far as weightlifting goes. It really truly does. It's crazy. It's insane. You have to do a very high number, like at least over 100 push-ups to get that kind of carryover. And I definitely do that. And I superset it with pull-ups, not talking to you to bore you with the workout routine that I'm doing. But as far as I've noticed for everybody else, a lot of people kind of just remained where they were in one aspect or another, between the friends that I talk to and stuff, and socially and this and that. I mean, on the phone, that is. And nobody really did much. I took this as an opportunity, and I did, to detach myself from my performance in jiu-jitsu and in comedy. And it would take a lot longer and a lot more detail and a lot more personal insight to really give an example and understand the impact it had on me. To understand, what's this car doing? They're half in one lane, half in the other. Anyway, to really understand the kind of movements. Excuse me, I'm slightly distracted just because there's a car that's half in one lane, half in the other, just cruising in the middle. All right, I'm gonna switch lanes. Anyway, so as I was saying, in a nutshell, the biggest thing that has happened from this is simplicity. And I haven't really noticed what anybody else has done, because I don't really focus on other people as far as the progress they do, because I'm very like forward and center focused. But several individuals have made comments as far as the improvements that I've made, just as far as jiu-jitsu goes alone. Again, not tooting my own horn, I'm just being honest. And whether they said it or not, I know that I have made improvements, because I'm making advancements and stuff compared to where I left off, compared to where I am now, as of the very first day I went back to training. I know because of the ability, and because I did detach and look at everything that I was doing as far as comedy goes too. I've noticed when I record my sets, what I mean by that is when I'm doing comedy and I'm analyzing my own material, I have a timer for like 10 minutes, for like a 10-minute set, for example. And then I have a lap. I hit like the little lap thing, and I push that button every time there's a punchline. Now my punchlines are harder and more often, and I'm basically getting more jokes and more laughs in a smaller amount of period because I'm coming to each conclusion in a more simpler way. Now, me personally, like I said before, to me, it's a lot more impressive if somebody can contextualize and bring together their thoughts and say something there's something, in my opinion, very, very elegant and beautiful by seeing something executed in the least amount of effort compared to the most. What's great about that is that if you condense something and simplify it into fewer steps, fewer movements, fewer something like that, you have less to focus on, but you can also focus stronger on each individual step before moving to the next one. And that's what I've done with jiu-jitsu, and that's what I've done with my comedy. So I'm really excited to get out on stage. I'm not really sure when that'll be because things are still, they're doing like 25% capacity shows and a lot of open mic places. You know, for a while, for the longest, I had actually been going to park benches and stuff like that. Not park benches, like bus stops and stuff, and doing comedy there. But I'm really, really excited and looking forward to working on the things that I had been preparing myself to do in jiu-jitsu. So anyway, I hope everybody has a beautiful rest of their day. Let's wave to the person that tried to cut me off. And y'all have a great day. I'm Benja Well Done. Check me out. Peace.